I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my video. We are going to discuss a very important concept here. Now, this particular video is especially for students who are preparing for competitive exams like SAT, IIT, MCAT, CAT, and so on. These days, we find a lot of multiple choice questions where something beyond the normal concept is being expected from the students. So that is what you will see in this particular set of questions. So we basically have two questions for you. The very first one is how many points on the x-axis can form a right triangle with the coordinate points A 3, 2 and B 11, 6. Choices are 1, 2, 3 or 4. Based on the same concept, we have the second question which says some points on the x-axis can form a right triangle with the coordinate points A 3, 2 and B 11, 6. Find the sum of their coordinates. So that's the real question, right? So we need to find the sum of their coordinates which can form a right triangle with the line segment. I would like you to pause the video, answer the question and then look into my suggestions. Now we are looking into the basic concept of slopes, and from there this question has been extended. So let's first understand the scenario. So that's our xy coordinate plane. The 2 points which we are talking about are A and B. So let's say this is A and that is B for us. I'm not making any scale but just giving you an idea. Point A is given to us as, let's say, 3, 2. And point B is given to us as 11, 6. On the x-axis, if we have few points which can make a right triangle, where could they be? Now, the point should be in such a manner that it makes a right triangle with line AB, correct? So that could be one scenario. So we have this point here. Another scenario could be that we have a line from B itself, right? So having a right triangle there, so we could have the second point. And what is also possible is that we could have some points where, for example, we could have a point here where the right angle is formed on the x-axis. Now that is a tricky part. How many such points can be there? That is a tricky point. So we do have 2 points for sure. Third point is possible. Can fourth point be there? Now that is what you need to gamble to answer this question. So I hope you get the concept. So is there any other point? Is there a point something like this, which could also give us the right triangle? So that will give us one of these two options, correct? So at present, it's just a gamble. So what I do here is mark D as my choice for the time being, since I know the answer, right? Okay, but then important part is to solve the second question. Second question states that some points on the x-axis can form a right triangle. So it could be 3, it could be 4. Definitely there are 2, right? With these 2 points, find the sum of their coordinates, right? So that is the question. Sum of their coordinates means that we need to find these points. Let's say this point is A0. Let's say this point is B0. This point is C0. And this point is DD0. Then what we need to find is what is A plus B plus C plus D equals to. I hope you get the question, right? So we need the sum of these coordinate points. Is it 14, 18, 12 or 38? Now I hope the question is absolutely clear. So basically you have to find these points to answer even the first question correctly. Now let us see how to do that. I hope you enjoy this, right? So let's move on. You can actually now pause the video, answer this question, since the concept is absolutely clear, and then match with my solution. Okay. We'll actually begin with the second question, which is some points on the x-axis can form a right triangle with the coordinate points A and B. Find the sum of their coordinates. So let's find these points. Once we find these points, we'll know exactly how many such points exist. I hope that makes sense, right? So let me just draw a line connecting B and A and B, right? So 3, 2, somewhere close to the x-axis, and this is far away. So let's say kind of like this. So that is the line which we connect A and B with. So the coordinates for A are 3, 2. This is point A, and for B we have 11, 6. And let us say that we have a point A here. So let's work with this point first. So clearly, this will be a right triangle only if at A we have 90 degrees. That means what? That means that the slope of AB should be equal to negative reciprocal of the slope of A to this point. Let's call this point as let's say P. Okay. Since it is on x-axis, we'll say this point is P0. Does make sense to you, right? So that is what it is. Let's find the slope AB first. So slope AB will be 6 minus 2. Let me write like this. 6 minus 2 divided by 11 minus 3. 11 minus 3. So slope of AB is 6 minus 2 is 4. 11 minus 3 is 8. We get slope of half. Now, what should be the slope of A to P? Now, A to P slope should be equal to negative reciprocal since it's perpendicular, right? If I choose P0 as the point, then the slope will be 2 minus 0 divided by 3 minus P. Now, we know this should be negative reciprocal. That is to say, it should be negative 2, right? So we can equate this to negative 2. That is negative reciprocal of AB since they are perpendicular, correct? Now let's cross multiply. So if I cross multiply, I get 2 equals to minus 2 times 3 minus P, right? So I can actually divide first. So we get minus 1 equals to 3 minus P. Bringing P to the left side, we get P equals to 3 plus 1, which is 4. So I get this first coordinate, which is 4, 0. Perfect? Okay. Now, let's look into the line which is perpendicular to AB, but this time it makes right angle with B. Let's say this one. So we are not talking about that triangle. Let's call this as Q. So I'll call this point as Q0. Now to find Q, what should I do? Again, I'll find the slope B to Q, which is equal to 6 minus 0 divided by 11 minus Q. And that should also be equal to minus 2, correct? Since slope of AB is half, negative reciprocal is minus 2, right? So let's cross multiply as we did earlier. We get 6 equals to minus 2 times 11 minus Q. Dividing by minus 2, we get minus 3 equals to 11 minus Q, or Q equals to, bringing it here and that to the other side, we get Q equals to 14. So this point is 14, 0. So we got at least 2 points. Now let's look into the third possibility of having a point somewhere in the middle. Now, if there exists a point somewhere in the middle which could give us right triangle, we are trying to say that if I connect this and this point, correct, then I have a right triangle there on the x-axis. Let's call this point as R and the coordinates as R and 0. Correct? In that case, what is slope of AR? Slope of AR will be equal to 2 minus 0 divided by 3 minus R. And what is the slope of BR? Slope for BR will be 6 minus 0 divided by 11 minus R. Now for these two lines to be perpendicular, they should be negative reciprocal of one another, right? So this is 2 over 3 minus R and this is 6 over 11 minus R. Now that really means that you could say they are negative reciprocal of one another. That is to say that 2 over 3 minus R is, or you could say their product is 1 minus 1. You could say that also, but we'll keep negative reciprocal. That means we'll make it negative and flip it. So it becomes 11 minus R over 6. This makes sense. Now we need to solve this equation, cross multiply. So we get 12 equals to, here we have minus, so we could do like this. We have to multiply 3 minus R with, this number is, you could do minus 11 plus R, right? Open this bracket. Okay, so that gives you 12 equals to minus 33 distributive property plus 3R minus 11R. I mean, minus and minus becomes plus, and that becomes minus R square. Correct? So when you multiply with 3, you get minus 33 and plus 3R. When you multiply by minus R, this number becomes positive 11R, and that is minus R square. So now we can write this equation as bringing all the terms to the left, R square, combining 11R with 3R gives us minus 14R, and 33 and 12 when you combine becomes 45 equals to 0. So we are looking for product of 45, sum of minus 14, 9 and 5 works for us. So both negative. So we get R minus 9 times R minus 5 equals to 0. So we got two values for R. One is 5, the other one is 9. Correct? So here we see that R is equal to 9 and also 5. Do you see that part? Both these factors could lead to 0. So that means we do have another point somewhere here, right? So we do have two values. We'll call that as R dash. And the coordinates are, as you can see, 9, 5, 4 and 14. Perfect. So what we get here is that the 4 points are 4, 0. Then we have 5, 0. Then we have 9, 0. And we also have 14, 0. So there are 4 coordinates. So the first answer of 4 was correct. And now let's add these two, right? So what is 4 plus 5 plus 9 plus 14 equals to? So that gives you 9 plus 9, 18. 18 plus 14 as 32. So C is the right option. The sum of their coordinates, that means just add x and y values of each coordinate to get the sum. Perfect. So I hope you find it really interesting and useful. This question indeed is very important for those who are trying to attempt for some good universities. Feel free to share my videos. If you like and subscribe to them, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.